Hey guys, welcome back to Demunseed here on the YouTube network. Hey, we unboxed the P3 yesterday, the Professional, and today we're gonna fly it. And we've got the app for it, the new DJI Pilot app, which is the same app as the Inspire uses. So it's got some really cool features. You know, yesterday I talked about all aspects of it. The weak link in the Phantom 3 is the gimbal. So be very careful when you're landing your Phantom. We're going to be engineering a brand new set of skids. You know, they're landing gear skids that snap onto the bottom of your landing gear and will prevent tip overs, because that's what the Phantom is notorious for, because of the narrow landing gear that they put on them right from the factory. So why DJI didn't come out with retractable landing gear this year, I don't know. Everybody else is doing it. So, but anyway, so let's get out there and I'll show you some tips and tricks on the Phantom Pilot app. Okay, if you've done everything correctly, you've updated your firmware before you tried to fly it the first time, and you've checked your props, make sure they're on nice and snug, check your battery, make sure you've got a full charge on your battery, you should not have a problem with your first flight. Just get it off the ground. If you've never flown one before, use the auto launch. Stand back about 15 feet on the left-hand side of the screen, press the auto launch button, let it take off by itself and get up to about 3 feet off the ground, and then you take over and move it forward or back or right or left or whatever. But just take your time, do it slow. You can master this. I know you can. Let's arm the Phantom. Now, when you first power on your Phantom, it's 2 clicks. You're gonna push the button on it once and then push the button on it a second time, and it's really quick. It's click, click, and hold. So just hold the button down for that second click and it'll start up the aircraft. And you'll get used to that. A lot of times guys think there's something wrong with their aircraft because it won't turn on. You're just not pressing it with the right rhythm. So if you've got rhythm, you won't have a problem with it. And same thing goes for your radio. It's a double click to turn it on, double click to turn it off. And while I'm on that subject, I want to remind you, whenever you go flying, you always do it in this order. When you're going to fly, radio on, then Phantom on. When you're landing it, Phantom off, then radio off. So it's the reverse. But you always turn your radio on first before you power up your Phantom. Reason for that is, if you power up your Phantom and your radio is dead, your radio's not doing anything, you haven't turned it on yet, the Phantom is going to go into an RTH, return to home mode. Essentially, that can happen because it thinks that you've turned your radio off and you want it to come home. And you can talk to the crazy Virginia hillbilly right here. He's always in our comments. It happened to him about a week and a half ago. He turned off his radio after he got finished flying, but he let his Phantom run. His wife went over to the Phantom to lean down to turn the Phantom off. The prop started up and that thing took off right toward her face because it was trying to do a return to home. And that's exactly what it did. It went up 60 feet, it sat there for about 30 seconds and then came straight back down again. But somebody could have been seriously hurt. So always, when you land, turn off the aircraft first, turn off the radio second. Okay, let's take her up. All right, so it's time to launch, and we've done our compass dance, and we're gonna take it 3 feet off the ground using the auto launch feature. Here we go. Now, that is a very good sign right there. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It's sitting there stationary and it's not wandering all over the place. Right now my screen is showing 17 satellites that we're locked into. So that was a new bug fix that DJI did. Now they actually give you a number instead of a bunch of bars. So it looks like we're good to go. I've got an SD card in it. Let's record some video.
here's some iPhone footage for you before we sign off. Took the Inspire up and decided to do some hot dogging through the trees, and this is what I ended up with. Crashed it, burned it, broke the automatic lock on that prop, chipped that prop, and I think everything else is okay. So anyway, if you can't afford to fix them, don't fly them. And that was our in-flight footage of the DJI Phantom 3 Pro model in the air. And you notice I mixed in a little bit of Inspire footage because I want you to compare the two and see which one you think gets a better picture overall. So my own impressions of the Phantom 3 series, it's not a game changer by any stretch, but it is a really nice drone. It was very, very stable and on the money when it came to locking into satellites. And I think we got up to 17 satellites locked in on the iPad while we were flying. So I don't have any complaints about it. The jury's still out whether or not there's going to be any flyaway issues with it, or this rumor that I heard that guys were falling out of the sky. All I can tell you is update your firmware, because a new firmware update came out today. So if you've got a Phantom 3, get that new firmware update. All right. Now I know what you're going to ask me down in the comments. You're going to ask me, between the Inspire and the Q500 Plus and the Phantom 3 Pro or the Advanced, which one would you buy? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is love the one you're with. Because if you already own a drone and it's doing the job for you and you're having a great time flying it, quit worrying about what the friggin' Joneses are doing down the street. Just have a good time, get out there and fly. Now, if you want my honest opinion as to which drone is the best buy for the money, if you can afford it, the Inspire. Go out and get yourself a DJI Inspire 1 and you will be blown away. But if you can't afford it, an Inspire is going to run you $3,500 plus by the time you get extra batteries in a case. Then I would say either it's a toss-up between the Phantom 3 Pro Edition and the unique Q500 Plus 4K Edition. They're both excellent birds. If you're a complete novice and you've never flown before, I would lean toward the Q500. It's more forgiving for beginners. If you're a videographer and you just want the most amazing stable shots that you could possibly get, then lean toward the Phantom 3 Pro. All right, you guys, that's my opinion and I'm sticking to it. All right, gang, that's gonna do it for another edition of Demunseed right here on the YouTube network. I want to thank my good friends Rick with his Q500 and Joe with his 550. We're out here flying around having a good old time. I will say that the Phantom 3 tips as easy as a Phantom 2, because for the damn life of me, I cannot land one of these things to save my life without it tipping over and potentially chipping the damn prop. So anyway, I'm going to put our new advanced skids on them. If you want a pair, just shoot me an email at demunseed@gmail.com. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to kiss the wife for me.
And make it a wet one.
Keep your stick on the ice.